This is Silver King. I'm not aware of either Bachmann with their new tooled version or indeed Hornby with their newer tooled super detail versions having offered Silver King in this livery. A big hello to you. It's so great to see you and I hope I find you well. I'm Jenny Kirk, welcome you up here to Weir Yard. And today, the big burning question is it Monday? No! Oh, in that case, it's time for Mailbag Monday. In today's mailbag, we take a look at the all-new tooled Rapido LMS Open Wagon to diagram 1666, which has just been released and should be in the shops now in a range of different liveries, including LMS, BR and internal user. We've also got the new 15XX pannier crew figures from ModelU that have been released to coincide with that prototype getting its own miniature release that we showed in a previous video. Staying on the subject of 3D printing, we've got an all-new 7mm wagon kit from 247 Developments that provides a really easy and quick way to put together some quite simple kits of wagon prototypes which might be unlikely to see a regular ready-to-run release. We take a look at the fidelity of the 3D printing and see just how simple this kit is to put together. And finally, the Covered Monkey and I did pay a visit to Clark Railworks, and whilst I was there I picked up some locomotives from their bargain second-hand section. These are also listed on their website, Clark Railworks, and we're stretching the mailbag just a little bit here because I did pick them up in person, but they do have all of these listed on their website, so I guess they could have been for mail order. But we'll be taking a look at the A4 Pacifics and Princess Coronation classes that I picked up for a really great bargain price. All that coming in today's Mailbag Monday in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support comes from...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model OO gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest loco.
It's always exciting when the postman comes here at Weir Yard Towers, and I'd like to give a big thank you to all the manufacturers and individuals who send items in for us to take a look at here on the channel. And if you've got something that you want to send in, then we've got some contact details on the screen here now, and you can query there to be able to send items in. But do please be aware that we don't necessarily get the opportunity to look at or film all of them, so do please bear that in mind. You can also tickle the like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel to be the first to know about new videos, and you can head on over to Patreon too and help support the channel to keep making the videos that you want to see. But let's get back to that mailbag and see what the postie has brought us today. The first item we're going to be looking at is the all-new Rapido Trains LMS Open Wagon, and they very kindly sent over a sample for us to be able to take a good close look at. This is LMS diagram 1666, and this is in the internal user black as number 84. Catalogue number 937015. Now, Rapido are releasing quite a sizable different number of these, and they're going to cover the LMS period and the BR period with this one internal user available as well. So it's actually possible to make up a full rake of these with all different running numbers straight off the bat. So the background for the history of this wagon is that it's the LMS railway, when it was newly formed, inherited a huge number of goods vehicles from its constituent companies, and these are in the number of about 305,000. Although they'd pretty much gone through the First World War, money was tight and there was a deficiency of maintenance, and that meant that a great many were deemed to need replacing. Consequently, the LMS embarked on a huge wagon building programme, and it looked to the Midland Railway design as its standard open wagon. Seemingly, the Midland Railway had also realised that it would need to replace its ageing open wagons and had designed a new 5-plank open wagon under Lot 1005, so this was pretty much in-house and ready to go. The first batch of 1,000 wagons was built by the LMS in 1923, and a staggering total of 54,450 wagons were built to this design and designated as the Diagram 1666 by the LMS, and these were built up to 1930. And there are actually more of these built than the total number of goods wagons of all types on the Southern Railway. Now, despite being built in such huge numbers, there's actually very few of these do survive to the present day. Rapido will be doing 3 different versions of wheels to match these wagons depending on prototype photographs, and these include disc, spoked and split spoke, which you can see on this wagon. And the list of different variants that they'll be producing with an RRP of £32.95 includes this internal user version, but then 5 in BR grey with different markings and running numbers. We've got 3 in LMS bauxite, and then 6 in the more common LMS light grey with the large LMS lettering. So there's plenty to start you off and actually get yourself a pretty sizable fleet of these. They're injection moulded and feature quite a detailed underframe. We've got the separate side brakes and couplings in NEM pockets with the actual mounts unobtrusively fitted between the wheels so that they're not too obtrusive if you want to run these maybe with 3-link couplings. The detail on these is pretty good, although it's a little bit difficult to see on the all-black internal user, and for me it does seem to be a little bit more shiny than I would have liked. I'd have liked to see really a more matte finish, but certainly the quality of the printing is really good. And judging by the photographs, my picks of the bunch would be the LMS grey, and also those BR grey feature some really quite nice data panels with the numbers on, and some really interesting markings that will really add to a wide variety in your wagon fleet. So a big thank you to Rapido Trains for sending this to the channel so we can have a good close look. Staying on the subject of Rapido, well, we've actually got these sent through very kindly from ModelU, and these are the crews suitable for their Rapido GWR 15XX. And you might remember that we did a review on this locomotive, and ModelU very kindly, off the back of that, offered to send over one of their crews, and this is specifically done to fit the 15XX, and I suspect that these are 3D scanned from the real crews that operate the surviving prototype at the Severn Valley Railway. These feature the typical high fidelity of detail that we've come to love from ModelU, and are a perfect no-hassle fit to the Rapido 15XX pannier tank. If you aren't confident in painting them yourself, then ModelU do have a partnership with some professional figure painters who, for an additional fee, can paint up your figures for you. So do inquire at the time of purchase, and thank you to ModelU for sending these over. Also in this week's post bag is this kit from 247 Developments with a retail price of £35. This is a 3D printed GWR Hydra wagon. Now this is kit number K74 if you're looking for that in their catalogue, and can be found exclusively from them. Now the GWR Hydra wagon was built in 1909. There was a number of them built for the carriage of horse-drawn carriages and early motor cars. So these are perfect for anyone modelling the pre-grouping period through into the grouping period. So we've got this really quite hefty one-piece 3D print. There's a lot of detail and relief on this, and certainly for anybody who maybe is a little bit scared of tackling a kit, there's not too many pieces on this, and actually I think to call it a kit is a little bit of an injustice to it, because this is almost like a flat-packed model, which does benefit from just a little bit user assembly. In the additional bag, we've actually got 6 of the axle boxes for the user to fit, and I think this is a nice touch, giving you a couple of spares just in case you have any issues when fitting these with wheels. Now wheels and the buffers and couplings aren't supplied as part of the kit, but these are widely available as aftermarket items. We have some helpful information here suggesting finish in GWR Coach Brown, and in terms of additional parts you're going to need some Mansell coach wheels, and these are of the 3-foot 7-inch type variety, and in terms of buffers it recommends for the 7mm kit Slater's catalogue number 71564 or Parkside catalogue number PS623. And certainly this is a nice little project that any modeller could easily complete in an evening's modelling, and it will really polish up with a nice coat of paint and be ready to enter into traffic. And it's one that I am going to be sourcing the additional parts at the next show that I go to, and you may be seeing this turning up in a future video. So a big thank you to 247 Developments for sending this over. And just to remind you, we do have links down in the description box for all of the different companies who have sent in items for us to take a close look at. Now these, strictly speaking, didn't arrive in the post bag, but I'm going to include them in this video anyway. The Cupboard Monkey and I went on a road trip to Skipton, and we visited Clark Railworks and Ellis Clark Trains, which are at the same premises, and did a little bit of filming, had a look at some of their EPs and livery samples of forthcoming models in O gauge. But it mustn't be forgotten that Ellis Clark Trains do have an extensive second-hand section, not limited by scale or gauge, and whilst I was there I picked up these 3 models. Now they also list these on their website, so you don't have to visit in person, you can do things mail order, but they're very much priced to sell, and I thought I'd share these 3 with you. Now you may be thinking that box is empty, and there's a good reason for that, because I have actually already been having a little play with this. This is the model that actually came in here, and this is Silver King. It's a Bachmann model, but it's the newer version with a fully retooled chassis, and it's had a few customization, which as you can see there, the TMC sticker in the corner kind of gives that away a little bit. Now one of the things that TMC do is custom weathering and also renaming and renumbering, and that's exactly the process that this locomotive has been through. Now I'm just going to carefully try and separate that from the tender just to make it a little bit easier for me to show you. But this is one of the items that I spotted Ellis Clark Trains had on their site, and it's in pretty much as new condition, although it is second hand, and came as part of a very large collection of A4s, and as such there was a huge choice to work from in terms of models, and some of them are running numbers and identities that have not been offered ready to run in a high fidelity form ever, and that includes this Silver King. I'm not aware of either Bachmann with their new tooled version, or indeed Hornby with their newer tooled super detail versions, having offered Silver King in this livery. And I really wanted to show you this because look, you can't even tell that this did not leave the factory with this identity. This is a really good professional renaming and renumbering job. Now, would you believe me if I said that I picked this up for £100 from Ellis Clark Trains, and they had probably about 10 or so of these A4s for the same price, although there were some Hornby ones as well that have been re-identified. Some were factory fresh as well, so I saw in there Golden Plover and also Empire of India, and I think there was a couple of others, Wild Swan maybe, which were completely clean and factory fresh. And then there were a huge number across different liveries and identities, including the Garter Blue and also the silver versions as well. And Wartime Black, I think, was also listed. And there's some really great choice, and I couldn't help myself. So I picked up Silver King. It's not one that I've got because it's never been offered in a high fidelity version, so I've avoided those older 1980s style models like the plague. So this was an opportunity too good to miss. And of course, my Hornby 00 Silver King was one of the things that really did get me into this hobby. So I was very pleased to pick that up. And, well, I couldn't just get the one. There were so many to choose from. Now, luckily for my bank account, a lot of them I already had. And so I was able to kind of reduce myself down to just these two, whilst there were two others that I would have loved to have had. Somebody did beat me to one of them, and the other one I'm going to keep quiet about. And if it's still there when Ellis Clark goes to Great Electric Train Show, I might just snaffle that on the Friday. But I couldn't leave this one behind. This is Lord Faringdon, and again, it's come from exactly the same collection. It's a TMC custom rename and weathering. So again, I'm going to just separate this from the tender. The tenders themselves actually between the two, and these are actually interchangeable. You can run one locomotive with the other should you choose, although the purists would point out that obviously certain locomotives ran with the corridor tenders and certain didn't. So if you want to be prototypically accurate, you do need to pay attention to that. But just going to put that one down there and show you the locomotive itself, again in pretty much as new condition. It's the newer version of the Bachmann model, and I find these quite acceptable. I did have a bit of a discussion about these online, with some people poo-pooing them a little bit, but actually, in all honesty, I find these perfectly acceptable, along with the super detail DCC ready Hornby locomotives. I don't go for the railroad, and I don't go for anything that comes as non-DCC ready. Now, the body on these is actually almost identical to the earlier split chassis type, but just be warned, the split chassis types feature a much poorer mechanism, valve gear that does have a habit of dismantling itself and are very hard to DCC fit. These later ones feature this centre sprung front bogie. We've got finer wheels and they're a much more robust model. We've got the fixed rear pony truck, and we've got the Cartazzi type axle in there as well. And we've also got the TMC etched plate just to prove that this is a TMC rename and renumber. Now 60034, Lord Faringdon was the last of the surviving A4s that made it to BR. There was of course a 35th that was destroyed in an air raid, but whilst it has been offered pre-super detail by Hornby in some interesting livery combinations for British Railways, there is a set with it in Garter Blue but with the BR number and British Railways spelt out on the tender. It's never been offered in a high-spec, high-fidelity version, as far as I'm aware, in the BR livery. So I was very, very pleased to also pick that up. And that does mean that I now have 20 of the A4s that made it to BR livery. Now the final item I'm going to show you is this. I couldn't resist a Princess Coronation class, and as you can see from the box, that is as new. That has not actually really done much at all. It's been well looked after, and I just showed you a little glimpse of the price on there. This isn't renamed or anything. This is a factory standard, £85 from Ellis Clark Trains, R2930, and this is 46243 City of Lancaster in that really quite attractive BR maroon livery. Now, whilst this is one of the earlier tooled versions of this model, I think that Hornby got these absolutely right. The only downside on these is that the front bogie is not sprung centrally, and that was one of the things that they did improve with the later tooled versions. But actually, these for me are still acceptable, and I still will pick them up at the right price. Just delving in here, we've got, again, I didn't show you these on the last ones. These are the descriptions that you get with all of the Clark Railworks models, and they are very, very honest with their descriptions. I've never had a problem at all. Just going to squeeze these out from the polystyrene boxes. Thankfully, Hornby did away with these later on. And you can see there's not even any dust on it. These do have tender pickups. There's a wire plug connector on these. Earlier ones had a setup which kind of took power from this spindle, which I actually, to some degree, I prefer a little bit. Actually, I may include the DCC socket in the tender. Looking at that, that may be why it's got the connector across. I will investigate further. I haven't actually had these running. Just got so excited I had to show you these. And it's even got the sealed detail pack here for this Princess Coronation pack. So there you are. It is all in there, sealed and ready to go. And with the locomotive itself out of the packaging, you can see there, this is a beautiful model. We've just got the older style front bogie, not too noticeable when it's running, but later on they did do that much better centrally sprung version. But it's got fine wheels. We've got that rear pony truck assembly with the flangeless wheels, which is not necessarily to everyone's taste, but I don't mind too much. And there's the plug that goes across. You can't actually get it in the box with it plugged in, which is why they very carefully unplugged everything for you. If it's just going on the shelf like this will be and run on the layout, I'm going to leave it semi-permanently coupled together. But this is an amazing model, and if you're wondering on that description, it says on the bottom, some small marks on boiler, speedo cable bent. Let's just put that to the test. So speedo cable bent, yeah, to be honest, that's really minor. And marks on the boiler. Now, I think, looking in the light, that's what they're referring to. But this is what I mean about honest descriptions. I mean, it's so minor, I think most people wouldn't really even flag that up. But they have been honest, and they have. So, £85, and I've got City of Lancaster for the Weir Yard collection. And if you're wondering, actually, I didn't give you the price. Lord Faringdon was the same price as Silver King, which is the same price as they have an awful lot of these A4s on the Clark Railworks site. So £100, I mean, you can't be robbed at that. And that brings to an end today's Mailbag Monday. Well, I hope you really enjoyed that rummage in the mailbag, and a big thank you again to all the companies who sent items in. And we do have some links in the description box down below to take you to 247 Developments, ModelU, and also where you can get the full range of those Rapido LMS open wagons. And certainly they're sure to prove really popular, just like all the previous releases from Rapido. And there's plenty of different running numbers and liveries, so you can get yourself up and running with a lovely mixed rake of wagons. But I'd love to hear from you. What did you think about the items that came in today's mailbag? Do leave a comment down below, it's always great to hear from you. And please like, share and subscribe, show the channel some love, and you can also check out our full range of merchandise too whilst you're there for the full range of t-shirts, hoodies, mugs and more. And don't forget as well that the Cupboard Monkey and I will be at the Great Electric Train Show in October this year, so do look out for us there, and it's always great to meet you and say hello. But until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling. Bye for now. Today's video comes in association with Train-O-Matic, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model OO gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest loco.
I'd like to thank everybody over on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to our Patreon heroes. Without you guys over on Patreon, we really wouldn't be able to keep making the video content that you see on this channel. And don't forget that you can also head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk and check out the different tiers of rewards. Thank you so much. You are absolute legends.